Tell me a little bit about why are you running?
So I think we've done some good things over the last 5.5 years since I've been on the board. One of the first things I worked on when I was first elected was the Housing Commission. Um, I think we did a great job getting it started. We had a $10 million contribution to the Housing Fund. I want to see us amplify that work, make sure we're continuing to develop that investment, and make sure that we're developing housing opportunities throughout the county. So I want to keep working on that. I think last year and a half has been different than the previous 4 years. I think we've, in a sense, been productive on some things. I want to get back to, at least in a sense, where it's a little bit more stability, where residents can kind of count on their county board. As I talk to residents in my district, one of the things that they frequently commented is, the lack of stability and the lack of ability to kind of count on what the board is going to do next. So I kind of want to get back to that. I think we can still have a dynamic board that pursues a variety of investments that we've done in the past, initiatives, and it still provide our core set of services for county residents.
You pretty much answered this next question about Ask It Anyone.
Sure.
So what are your priorities then?
Well, again, housing opportunities throughout the county. I think everyone is aware that we're a growing county. We need to have housing opportunities for everyone, right? Whether it's workforce housing, disabled housing, senior housing, across the board, right? Whether you're looking to, rent, own a home, we just need to keep working on that. I think the Housing Commission is well suited to be, a strong, partner with our nonprofit and for-profit developers. We need to make sure that we keep engaging with those two areas and make sure that people who come here, are not, income strained when they're finished with their housing bill, right? Whether it's renting or owning, that's been, number one on people's mind. We love Ottawa County, we love the Lake Shore, but it's tough to find a home, it's tough to find a place to rent, and we need to address that. So that's number one, and making sure we continue to provide high quality services, right? I think the hallmark of Ottawa County, long before I've been here, is high quality services and making sure that, taxpayers can count on high quality services and, not have to, pay an arm and a leg for that, right? And it goes back to department heads doing a great job and, being very cost conscious in how they do that, right? So making sure we continue to do that work. I think we've done that work over the last year and a half, and because that is our central job, right? Making sure our core functions are done well and at a price tag that voters can count on.
Tell me about you personally, like things you like to do, places you like to go. Tell me about you personally.
Sure. So I'm a small business owner for the last 25 years, clothing mainly. I have 2 kids. We live in Holland, obviously. My youngest is a sophomore at Black River. He is involved in track and cross country. He is on the autism spectrum, so we spend a lot of time with him, whether it's in school activities, extracurriculars, and making sure that he has the opportunities to be the best student and being the best athlete. So I spend a lot of time with him, especially in the summertime. We do a lot of running. That's been a big focus over the last couple of years. Obviously, working on the board is, especially last year and a half, has been a time-consuming adventure. So, but standard hobbies: golf, biking, enjoying the lake shore, going to the beach.
Why should people vote for you?
Well, I think I have a strong track record. I've been commissioner for the city of Holland for the past 5.5 years. People have seen the work that I've done, and they can judge, based on the work that I've done. Since I've been on the board, I compile meeting notes for every meeting, and in any key votes, I put my rationale for voting so folks can see, oh, Zylstra voted this way on that one. I don't even have to worry about, calling him or asking him. I can just check right there, and he's going to say why he voted on that. I think, that level of transparency is what a lot of residents have come up to me and said, I appreciate those meeting notes. I appreciate you telling us, why you voted this way. Over the past 5.5 years, there's been a lot of times where it's 10-1 or 9-2, and people want to know why were you on the other side on that, and so number one, I think I've been a transparent commissioner, and people can make their judgments based on that. I think working on housing and making sure that, especially in the city of Holland, we're offering services to all our residents and making sure that I'm listening to what I think is a very diverse district, and making sure that everyone has a voice and presence at the table. That's one of the things I've been working very hard on, and I'd like to continue that.
You pretty much already alluded to this in one of your answers. What has been your thoughts of the past 1.5 to 2 years when it comes to how Ottawa County government has been run?
Right, and like I said, I think we've done some really good things. I mean, our core services, I think we've done well. I didn't vote on the budget, didn't vote for the budget last time because I think we didn't do as much as we could have as far as public health. But as far as some of our core areas, I think we've done really well in park system. I think one of the nice things that I've seen is that we all may have differences, but when it comes to like maintaining our parks, which I think almost all of us on the board will recognize, we probably have the best park system in the whole state, right? And we all want to maintain that. Obviously there's been moments where we disagree from the first meeting on, right? The DEI department, we have strong disagreements on that, and obviously, at the first meeting, that department was eliminated, right? I think overall, the last 1.5 years have been challenging because, frequently I'm in the minority on a lot of issues, but at the same time, I feel like it's been fulfilling in the sense of I'm there for my constituents and for the residents of the City of Holland. And, it's extremely fulfilling to me when folks come up to me and say, hey, I appreciate your vote on that, or thank you for, sticking up for the voices of City of Holland on XYZ issue, right? So, it's been a mixed bag. There have been moments I've been very proud of what we've done, and there are times when I feel like we could have done better.
I forgot to explain to this before our interview started, which I pretty much told everyone before our interviews. I would like to follow up, ask some questions to follow up to get clarity and better understanding of some of your answers in this. Do you mind if we move forward?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Tell me a little bit about, you mentioned last year and a half is you want to get back to stability. Usually we found you being the one who has been pushing back when it comes to topics of discussion. How do you want to start stability here yourself?
I think that we need to function better as a unit. I don't think that we can be a true team unless we're a true team, right? I know that kind of sounds, a cliche, but, one of the things I always appreciated, even when I was, quote unquote, the lone Democrat in, the first 4 years, is that I felt like I was included. I mean, obviously there was a time where they were never used to working with a Democrat, and obviously it was new on the board, but I felt like over time, we worked and functioned well, and, at the end of 22, after those 4 years when we did the ARPA process, I felt that that was a really, we finished kind of that 4-year cycle, and there was a lot of respect shown, and I think there was a lot of great investments done, and I was very proud of the work that we kind of did that last 6 months of 2022. Yeah, and I think we just need to get back to working well as a team. We're all going to have different opinions, right? We all represent different districts, right? But there's no reason why, yes, I may disagree with you on this issue, or you may think that I'm wrong on that issue, but we still need to focus on being a team for Ottawa County residents. And I think we can do that. Obviously we have elections come up, and we'll see what the composition of the board is. I mean, maybe everybody wins their elections, we come back to the same composition of the board, and that's fine too. But I think we all need to realize that we're here for the 300,000 residents of Ottawa County, right?
And tell me a little bit about how have you kind of either A, reached out, or B, try to kind of come together as a team? Or
yeah, I think
how would you move forward?
There have been discussions. I think, I think that the Adeline Hamley discussion is, a unique point. Obviously, there was a lot of disagreement on the board as to what we should do with her as employee and as head of the health department. At the end of the day, we all came together and said, she should stay, right? And that was probably 14-month discussion, right? If it started at January 3 and it ended at that last special meeting, that was a 14-month discussion where we all, looked at all the options. We had plenty of conversations, and you were there too, and 8-hour, maybe 10-hour days, and closed sessions, open sessions, and we finally all came to the same conclusion that she should stay. So I think that was a good example of, us working together for Ottawa County residents. Even though it did take 14 months, I think it was a good result.
January 3rd, you mentioned the elimination of the DEI department. Would you want to see it brought back, or would you?
Yeah, I would. I mean, obviously, on January 3, there was, I don't know, the vote was 7-3 to eliminate it. So, if it were to come up again next meeting, obviously, I don't think it would pass. But I do think there are things that we can do, in the absence of recreating that department. I've talked a long time about having an ombudsman here at Ottawa County, starting in 2020. I still think that we can have a department like that, right? That both residents and employees and commissioners and department heads can use as a sounding board. I think that that's something would be very useful, right? In absence of a DEI department, something like that. So I think that there are ways that we can, maybe not recreate the DEI department, at least in the short term, but find, solutions where residents who were disappointed that the DEI department was eliminated can have, a sense that their county is looking out for them, in the entirety, right? Because I think a lot of folks took that vote as, you don't care about me. It's rightly or wrongly, and but that was a lot of folks who came up to me after that meeting and said, this feels like the board doesn't care about me, right? I may be LGBT, I may be Hispanic, I may be, African American, what have you, right? I may be disabled, all the human differences, and they felt like the board wasn't taking that in the entirety, right? So I think we can get back to that. I don't know if we can recreate that department, at least in the short term, but reassure voters that, and residents that we do care about all 300,000 residents and making sure we're aware of human differences and how we can highlight and make sure that, we're a strong county together.
You talked about housing, moving housing
Sure.
forward. How would you move housing forward? As in, what policies would you want to put in place to push housing forward here in Ottawa?
Yeah, I think one thing that we haven't heard a report from the Housing Commission. I was on the Housing Commission. I was removed in March of 2023. We haven't heard what the Housing Commission is doing. I mean, obviously they meet, but they don't meet on video, and we don't have an annual report from the Housing Commission. When I was removed by Chair Moss, we were just starting work on what the housing fund would look like. I don't know if we've gotten any advancing on that, right? So I would definitely like to see how we can leverage those $10 million and make sure that, we're doing the work that we, in 2022, asked of that, group and go forward. I know there was discussions on Habitat for Humanity. I would like us to restart those discussions. I mean, it's very clear to me that, statutorily we can do that. And I think, this board would agree that home ownership is, a positive, and making sure everybody has access to home ownership, is a positive. So I'd like to restart that. We still have approximately $3 million in our ARPA fund. There's no reason why we can't, work with that partner to start out with, and then what other partners can we, work with, leverage our funds, leverage our capability to make sure that, we're increasing housing opportunities throughout the county.
And you just mentioned the fact that you were cut off the housing commission. I remember 2023 you were on at least all the regular committee meetings, right? Correct?
So every commissioner was on every committee.
And this year you haven't been. You're on what, one?
Well, the strategic planning committee, which has not met, I don't believe. We're all on that. And I'm on HHS, Health and Human Services.
Have you felt that you've still been able to get your voice heard since just being now not on any committees but just one?
Why don't you repeat the question?
When it comes to you're no longer on the committees anymore other than one, and sorry, two, but do you feel that your voice is now no longer heard, or is it are you still able to express your voice?
Well, let me take a step back because, obviously there were changes to the committee assignments.
Yeah.
Not only did the majority have a natural majority, but I think took more seats than even you would expect based on the numbers. Commissioners Bergman, Bonham, and myself, I think we're all at 1, and there are commissioners with 7, right? The way the agenda works now is that, items approved on committee go straight to a consent agenda. I, oppose that because that takes discussion away from folks who are not on that committee. I think ideally, I would like to re-examine the whole idea of committee structures here in Ottawa County. I think that, we could look at that in maybe a more holistic sense that, all 11 commissioners have a more organic voice in bringing items to the table, fleshing them out, and getting a final proposal. I think over this last 8 years, or last 8 months, we've seen the committee structures not working well. I mean, at least in the sense of bringing everybody's voice to the table. So no, I don't think that, it's not about my voice in particular, but, when you have 2 or 3 commissioners with 5, 6, 7 committee assignments and 3 or 4 commissioners with 1 or 2, obviously that's an imbalance and, not fair to those commissioners' districts, right? So I do think we need to re-examine that, and if we, in 2025 look at different approaches to developing the final business agenda so that it is more organic, more holistic, and more representative of everyone's interests. So.
But have you felt like your voice hasn't been heard?
Do I feel like my voice has not been heard? I do talk when I feel like, I need to talk. But as you know, I mean, commenting on a final product is different than being present, when a proposal is being developed. And if you're saying, Commissioner Zylstra, you have the ability to pull it off consent and vote yes or no. Well, yes, that's having a voice, but, being present at, origination, development of proposal, folks who are not on committees, or don't have as much committee presence, obviously, that's not happening.
Budget, or near or
Sure.
close to the budget. Obviously, you mentioned that you voted no on the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you had tried to put a few items on last year's budget that was left out. So this year moving forward, what are you hoping when it comes to this budget?
Well, I definitely think we need to look at the Ottawa food section, and make sure that this year we're funding health education according to historical standards. There was a 50% cut to that. It was, in dollar terms, $400,000, right? So in the context of our $260 million budget, not a big amount that, would not have been, a big burden to make sure that that was fully funded.
Sorry, did you say 400,000?
It was the
Oh,
$400,000.
sorry.
Right.
Right.
So, returning us to historical levels in health education, I think would really kind of get us back to where we were. I've seen no, arguments why we can't do that and why we shouldn't do that. And hopefully that's part of the discussion. With the committee assignments, I was, glad that we reworked some of the deliberations so that all commissioners could be present at most of those budget hearings. There's still one final budget hearing that only finance members can be a part of, which I still think needs to be addressed. Because yes, now we're having all 11 commissioners being part of drawing this together, but again, if we're not all there through the entire process, our districts are not being represented. So, as far as the budget itself, I'm looking forward to seeing what fiscal gives us as a first draft. Right, I think that I have full trust that fiscal will give us a great first draft, and I think it's up to us to make sure that we follow through and make sure our departments, from IT to parks, are funded and making sure that they have the resources they need to do the job for us. So,
I remember on one vote, because you described you post why you vote for the way you vote.
Mm-hmm.
One vote that definitely got a lot of flack was your recall or the no protecting childhood innocence.
Sure.
You voted no on that, led to a recall that amounted to nothing. Do you still stand by that vote, and if so, why?
Well, for sure. Well, let's look at it in two different ways, right? The resolution itself was, I think, poorly worded. Theoretically, it was to give guidance to staff as to which events they could and couldn't go to, but the resolution itself didn't finish that thought off, right? And we had talked at the time about, hey, if you're going to tell staff where they can and cannot go, you need to be specific, right? And I felt like it wasn't specific. I think in another sense, for me, that resolution came out of discussions regarding Grand Haven Pride, right? Those were difficult meetings for me, right? To hear that we are not being inclusive of everyone in Ottawa County, right? And I felt that that resolution against childhood innocence was specifically drawn up in a certain way to exclude the LGBT population, or at least to make known that this board didn't appreciate, for example, the health department being at a Pride event, right? In the city of Holland, we've had Pride for 20 years. I was at the most recent one in Centennial Park. It was a great occasion. 7,000 residents, came. A lot of folks from the city of Holland, and I think, that sort of celebration is something that, I had a booth, and I think there were various other, county departments that had a booth. And to have a resolution to say we can't have a county presence at community events like that, I thought was the wrong step. And so, for those two reasons, basically, I voted against that and definitely stand by both of those, right? Even if the resolution were reworked to include more specific language about which events you can and can't go to, I'm assuming that if that were to happen, the resolution may say these county departments can't go to Holland Pride, right? And I would be very much against that, right? Because we need to be present in the community, and we need to show all the community that we support them and that the county is there for them, right? So I definitely stand by that, and I'm glad the recall didn't really go that far. I think a lot of residents came up to me and were very supportive of my vote, and because I think that they saw, what I saw, and we'll see where that goes. There's been no further development of that policy, and we'll see if this board chooses to develop that policy further.
seemed to get emotional in that answer. What's going on there?
It was, you know, there's 300,000 residents in this county, and they all deserve to be valued. And they all deserve to know that their government, their county government, appreciates them and appreciates who they are and the differences they represent, right? And I just felt like that resolution did the opposite.
Doug, I've hit everything I could think of at this moment. Is there anything else you'd like to add on?
No, I appreciate the interview. I appreciate the ability to talk to residents of Ottawa County and explain some of my points of view. It's always a privilege to sit behind this dais. In every single meeting, I never, I don't, for any moment, not realize that, the honor that we have to represent the 300,000 residents of this county.